Hello there. So here's an amp I built recently. This is a Vibro Blackface. Part of it I had parts laying around. Others I bought off of eBay, and the small parts kit I got from Mojitone. So I was going to have some surgery and I was going to be out of work for a couple of weeks, and I said, well, I got to stay busy having fun with guitars and electronics somehow, so I went ahead and purchased this kit. And I just want to make a quick video on amp building. I'm not a professional amp builder by any stretch. I like tinkering with stuff, as you can see right there, and so far I would consider successful at it. There's a 5F1 right there that I built from a Pro Junior cabinet that I bought for 45 bucks off of somebody, and it worked great. And since I was going to have surgery and was going to be out of action, I said, well, I can sit down for a few hours and tinker with stuff. So here it is. Chassis and faceplate off of eBay. Power transformer, output transformer I already had because I was going to build another amp. Small parts kit from Mojitone, and I substituted a few resistors, as you can see right there. And Mojitone also supplied the wiring diagram and the schematic, which I printed out, blown up on a big cartel so I could see it. And there it is. I added a couple of extra little knickknacks that I got from other YouTubers like D-Lab. D-Lab Electronics is one of my favorite YouTube channels. I could actually just download his videos and just play them in the background all day. I love his videos. And as you can see right there, this little brass plate that came inspired by D-Labs. Great advice. See a switch right there for 4 and 8 ohms. Unfortunately, the transformer didn't come with enough wire, so I had to use red wire to go over to the filaments on the 6v6. I upped this capacitor to 1K. It's actually 470. A bunch of 1 watt metal film resistors, because I don't like using these old carbon comp. They're just noise makers. My resistor kit did not come with all the carbon comps I needed, so as you can see right there, I actually seriesed a couple and had to use a few in parts where I just didn't have the value for it. But overall, this is a great kit. And if anything, I wanted to make this video so you guys can have an idea of what it takes to build an amp, and are still on the fence about getting a kit and, you know, see if you guys can build it. Well, I strongly suggest you do, but there are some things you guys need to consider when building these kits. One is safety. You have to be really careful, especially with the main capacitors. The voltage in there can kill you, and at the very least it's going to shock the living crap out of you. Ask me how I know. I'm still standing and I survived, so it's good. The other thing is try to get as many tools and as many specialty tools as you can. As you can see right here, I have this Mojitone amp stand. This thing is a game changer. If you don't want to shell out $200 plus shipping, depending on where you live, for this, you can do it with a couple of 2x4s or 4x6s and get away with it, and it'll work just fine. It's just having this amp stand is a real game changer. I also have a circuit board holder, because when you work on the chassis, you're putting all the big parts, the transformers, the sockets, the knobs, the brass plate, you know, terminal boards, whatever. But once you get into building the actual circuit board, you need a different holder. They're really cheap on Amazon. They're like 15-20 bucks, but they're worth every penny. It works to have a great soldering station. I have that Weller right there, and I have this little solder dispenser, which is fantastic. But you can get away with just a regular soldering pen. The problem with building with just basic tools is Trust me, I did it on my first amp. You're going to drop stuff. You're going to bump stuff over, and it's not going to be comfortable. So if you're to the point where you're getting a little bit serious about it, I strongly suggest you make the investment. In my experience, and people I've talked to who have built amps as well, once you build your first amp, you're just going to keep going. Whether it's 1 a year, 2 a year, 3 a year, or ever so often, you're simply going to do it again. Because there's something to be said about, you know, creating something and plugging it in and strumming it and being like, wow, that is freaking cool. It actually adds a little extra coolness to the fact that you actually built it. So I just wanted to make this video to let you guys know, if you're on the fence about building an amp, go ahead and do it. It's great. As far as sound samples, well, I can't lift right now because I'm fresh off surgery, and I really don't do sound samples on YouTube because there's a million sound samples everywhere else. And one thing about sound samples that I can tell you is it doesn't matter how it sounds and feels. It will never come through the YouTube video. I've watched all the YouTube videos that you guys have watched pretty much of how a guitar sounds, an amp sounds, a pedal sounds, and then you go to a store, whether it's Guitar Center, your mom and pop shop, or on wherever, and you try it out for yourself, and it's not the same as YouTube. If you wanted a sound sample right now, I can tell you right now, it sounds like YouTube compression. So this is basically about building amps. It's a great little amplifier. I'm going to do a couple of little mods on them, and I'll probably post that video too. But if you're considering building an amp, I would strongly suggest you do. Don't start on a basement, don't start on a plexi, start on something small. This is a VibroVerb. Okay, this is a single-ended amp. That is a 5F1 right there. It's a really small chassis. There's really no way you can screw it up if you're patient and detailed. So get yourself a kit, build yourself an amp, feel good about yourself, take care of yourself, and have some fun, because that's what it's all about.